congratulations. Strip down, rise up. You have it right there in the background. So perfect.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you. Good to
welcome.
see you.
Nice to see you too. I did get to read a little bit of about you when it comes to press notes. Thank you. Very informative. Um,
Good.
but you can also, in this case, relate to why you found this subject very fascinating.
Yes, I mean, as I always say, I don't look for a subject. The subject kind of finds me. And in this case, I just stumbled upon pole dancing, going to a pole dance class with my daughter. And I realized that there's a lot more to it than people think. And I wanted to show how women celebrate their bodies through sensual movement, not necessarily for men, but really for themselves and as a way of healing through movement. And it was amazing for me to see, even the first days of filming, how the transformation was taking place. And for me to be able to give a way to show it and a voice to women who you may not ever know or hear about, or a form of art like pole dance that you would have a stigma on, that you would never think would be something like this, is my job to bring it to the surface. So
And I mean, in this case, you bring it out to the open for people to be more conscious that pole dancing is also a lifestyle. Um, just like any sport, you could be like a marathon runner. You know, it's something that helps you mentally um, be stable. But in this case, you say that this documentary is about healing and liberating purpose of pole dancing.
right. So there is, the usual workout. People go to the gym or people do yoga, and it has, of course, its own effect on you. But this sensual movement practice, which pole is at the center of it, gives you a depth of motion, so to speak, that is also internal. And without even knowing, I experienced it myself when I wanted to do research and see what is this all about. And I started working with the pole and listening to my music, and I realized that my body was moving in a very different way than I used to. I mean, I'm an avid salsa dancer, and I dance always, but it's always a guy leading me in a
Mhm.
certain beat, in moves that were already pre-orchestrated. You need to know the moves, right?
Right.
And this was like free and open. My body can move the way it wants. And I think every dance form, you tell a story with your body, but this is not confined. You can tell the story of your body, whether it's sad or happy or joyful or painful, through a sensual experience, through your body, through your feminine self. And that is what's very different than other. And that's what blew me away when I started doing that part, but also the athleticism of women, the competitors like Amy in my film, and Allison, who even in a later stage in their lives, Allison had already 2 kids when she started pole dancing. Amy was in her 30s when she started. It's different because as a ballerina, you start when you are 6 and you're done when you're 30. Here, this starts when everybody else is done. Come pole dance because you can go. There are pole competitors in their 70s. There are
Right.
women who yeah, it's crazy. So I love that inclusiveness of pole and what it does to people in general.
And you point out something very important, that it's for all ages, but also any body type, body size. I mean, you have this gal that I feel like her story was the more touching for me. And I'm going to ask you which one was the most touching for you, but Evelyn's story.
Yeah,
She's definitely does not fit the typical mold of someone you would see on, pole dancing and
that's
dancing
right.
so comfortable with her body.
Right. I mean, look, I was moved by all their stories because that's why they made the cut to be in the film, because I had a lot of stories that didn't make it. But Evelyn, you're right. Evelyn is special. She's Latina, and she's works at Seas Candy. She's like your everyday girl, next door neighbor. And she had body type, body image issues on top of the loss of her husband. She said at a young age she was called a hamburger because she was heavy. And those are the first offenses that we get as women, and maybe some men too, um, that we already put shame in our body. I'm too big. My boobs are too big. My boobs are too small. I'm too skinny. I'm too fat. I'm too this. I'm too that. All this thing we grow up with what is called the critical mind, where your mind starts criticizing your own self. On top of it, you have men looking at you in a certain way, expecting maybe a certain kind of beauty. Of course, I'm generalizing. A lot of men don't look that way. All of that creates all this blockage in our body. We're defending, we're putting an armor on because we don't want to be, offended or whatever. And this practice of sensual movement unlocks everything. But you have to be prepared to do that. It's not for everyone.
Mhm.
And it's a deep journey.
And you touched a little bit that it's not only women that pole dance, it's also men.
Oh yeah, lots of men pole dance, and it's straight men, gay women, straight women. It's for everyone, and couples. There are married couples who compete together, which is beautiful to watch.
Oh, that's amazing. See, I did not know that. That's brilliant.
Well, one guy in the film that briefly says that it fixed his back. He's an older guy with a lot of issues. He's actually a scientist and he tried every kind of workout and only kept injuring his back. And then when he stumbled upon pole, because pole is a lot about core, and when your core is strong, everything kind of aligns around it.
Mm.
And so that's the little secret of pole dancing. It's core and upper body strength.
Got it. Yeah, but I didn't know that couples actually compete. I mean, it must be really pretty to watch something like that with the choreography.
It's pretty, and I think it gives a different aspect to your coupleship because you get to express yourself, but as an individual, but also as a couple.
I see. Um, it's funny because not too long ago, I started searching on how pole dancing is actually something very normal in people's homes. There's a reality show playing right now, where one of the subjects has a pole in her home, and she invites someone to work out, and the person's kind of like, why does she have a pole in her home? And then later on, she's kind of body shamed or dancing shamed the way she dances. It seems like you can also get criticized just for being able to express yourself in body movement.
Yeah, totally. So I have a pole in the middle of my yoga studio. So, I go back and forth between yoga and pole. And a lot of people come to my house, they go like, oh, that's weird. She has a pole in the house. But then, of course, they know I made a movie about it. But it is about wearing that femininity with pride. And if people want to criticize you, well, you can't change that. All you can say is, this makes me happy. This is my way of expressing myself and my femininity. It's not for you. It's for me. And they can say, well, people are going to always criticize everything you do, and it doesn't matter what and how, So the idea is to have confidence about your self-expression and continue doing it and not let anybody shut you down.
Mhm.
And that's what the film is about, is celebrating women and reclaiming their power.
And it's funny because this is actually perfect timing for this. Because,
Mhm.
with the pandemic, a lot of people have kind of like let themselves go, depression, just everything around it, you know.
That's right. And you can order a pole literally. You can put it up in your house. You can put it down as well, if you don't want it afterwards. And you can have virtual classes, and people, it's a way of moving that's beyond the daily walk, that we do during COVID, that, gotta move. But this is more than that. You can really release a lot of stuff that's going on in your body through pole dancing.
And real quick to start finalizing, what do you what do you want to say to someone that's going to watch the documentary? And you've been there, kind of like some of these gals that opened up, these girls that are intimidated still of being outspoken, and
Right.
they're like, no, there's no way I could do that. What would you say?
Well, I think the film kind of speaks for itself, because if you see Evelyn do it, and you see Jen do it, and you see all these women that do it that never thought they would, I hope that will be enough of an inspiration to have women do it. But if still they are hesitant, I would say make a first step into it. Take a chance, just try it. What's the worst that can happen? You know, you took a class, you loved it, or you didn't love it, just try it. And our website, Strip Down Rise Up, is actually going to offer resources if you are a beginner or not a beginner. And if you want to start and make your first step into your own journey, you will have an opportunity to learn with Sheila and Amy and Patricia. So we're helping women. We invite them to continue the journey beyond watching the film.
Mm-hmm. It seems I have a little more time. So I'm going to take advantage because there's something I did want to talk about. Because your documentary is all, all these, so much optimism. But you have one subject that pretty much pulled out in the middle of the document. Can we talk about Amber, who quit?
Yeah.
Middle of it.
Sure. Look, it's not for everybody. I think she came wanting to just have a workout, and that's great. She thought it was strictly pole dance class. And as the class progressed, she realized, no, that I don't want that. I'm not ready to go into this journey. And she also, it really wasn't what she was looking for. I wish she had stayed, because I think we would have seen something very special, how she connects with the feminine self of her. Because what Sheila was telling her in the movie, you explore your masculine side. You're a competitor, you're a marathon runner, you run a Pilates studio, all of that. But according to Sheila, who's more of a body whisperer, as we say, she had seen her feminine side, but this student maybe didn't want to get in touch with that side. Maybe it was too vulnerable. And I understand that. It's not for everybody. And if you want strictly pole dance, you can go to other studios, that are strictly for pole dancing. And then she probably would have been better off in a different studio. I don't think she realized the emotional part of pole dancing in that particular S Factor studio. I wanted to see show the other side.
Yeah, I feel like in a way she didn't give it's 100% for in this case, and opening up. I think she was very focused on just the physical part.
Yeah, and that's okay. I mean, if that's what she wanted and she didn't find what she was looking for, that's okay. She didn't want to also be witness to other women's journeys. She just wanted to focus on her own. And that's okay too. I'm not judging. I'm just showing you, the audience, what happened, how it happened, and that is not for everyone. And I hope she found her way, and I hope maybe one day she will come back.
Yeah, I actually
a different journey.
I appreciated that out of the documentary. I didn't expect that. I was just like, what? She's gone? Someone pulled out?
Right. A little surprise.
Yeah. So you showed everything. And then just real quick, can we talk a little bit about approaching some of the subjects? Who in particular would you say was a bit hesitant?
Well, Sheila was very hesitant, the main character from S Factor, because her studio is built around being in the dark, no mirrors, and just me being there with a camera, let alone putting lights up because I couldn't shoot in the dark.
Right.
Was a huge step. And there was some resistance from the students, from the teachers, but I think they were brave enough to say, okay, let's open our doors, come to the surface, so we can inspire other women. And that was a big challenge, to open literally the doors of S Factor for. It was less difficult with Amy because the studio is so open and light and mirrors, and they're performing, so they don't care if somebody watches them. But with intimate journeys, it's always much harder. So I really appreciated the fact that they trusted me and let me in for almost a year, in and out, to follow the progression.
When you started this documentary, did you know what kind of direction you were really like focusing on as a filmmaker in this question?
I knew I wanted. I like to make character pieces, so It's all about the character, who they are, what makes them get up in the morning. I knew that, but I didn't know where each character was going to take me,
Hmm.
and if they were going to follow through. Will they really be giving themselves to this journey, and hence to the camera as well? That's always the unexpected when you do a documentary, because you don't have a script. You're
Hmm.
depending on what the other person is going to go through. All you can do is offer trust and a safe environment where they can really transform. So that's the thrill of doing documentaries. You do not know what's going to happen, but you better be ready when it happens to capture. Like this woman, all of a sudden in the circle, she said, I haven't had sex for 6 years. And I'm like, holy, I wasn't even following her at all. But luckily, my camera was on her and I caught it. And it was like, okay, let's follow her. She emerged. I had no idea. I wasn't going to follow her at all. So all of a sudden, we had this side story of a woman who was literally breaking down. And so it was amazing to watch. And her transformation was also incredible.
Well, thank you so much for this documentary. I'm sure a
Thank
lot
you.
of us are going to relate to someone in some shape or form, and that is going to bring something positive into our lives because we're going to want to talk about it and, make
Yes.
changes, to be
Great.
not
Yes.
victims, like you
Yes.
said.
That's right. Celebrate our bodies.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Pleasure to speak with you. And you
You too.